All right, it is 6 o'clock. We can wait one more minute and then get started.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West A Street Improvement Project virtual public meeting. My name is Haley Engstrom with Olson, and I'll be moderating this meeting tonight. Joining us today are some members of the Lincoln Transportation and Utilities team, including Liz Elliott, our Director of Lincoln Transportation and Utilities, Chris Humphrey, Project Delivery Manager and Engineer, Brian Kramer, Superintendent of Wastewater Collection, Russ Gasper, Senior Engineer, and Erica Hill, Communications and Public Affairs Manager, who will be keeping track of questions throughout the presentation and will help facilitate the Q&A session at the end of the meeting. That being said, please put your questions in the chat box. If you prefer that they are anonymous, you can email Erica Hill at erhill@lincoln.ne.gov. The icon for that is the bottom of your screen, and then we'll stop to answer any questions at the end. Okay, kicking things off with our agenda, we'll start with the big picture overview, followed by street and sanitary sewer updates, and then what our updated communication looks like moving forward, and then wrapping it up with questions, like I said. So that being said, I'll toss it over to Chris.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Well, today we're going to give you an update on the street improvement and the sanitary sewer improvement projects in this area, which combined have almost a $33 million investment to this area of Lincoln. So if you can go to the next slide, Haley. As those of you that remember, the street project was broken into two different projects, one from about Southwest 23rd Street to the east. That project was completed in 2022, which is shown in the green on the above. And then we're currently working on the street project from the west city limits over to Southwest 23rd Street. Concurrently, we're also working on a sanitary sewer project, which is shown on the bottom half of your screen. The trunk line, the main line, is almost all in place. That's shown in green. And then the areas that are shown in blue are the mains that they're currently working on from the main trunk sewer lines. And then the vertical lines are the service lines that they'll come back and reconnect. And for those of you that are new to the area, I just kind of want to remind everybody of the project benefits. I know that there's a lot of challenges that are presented when you're living and commuting near a construction site, but once the projects are complete, there's a lot of nice benefits that we'll have. You'll have a new roadway. The ditches will be gone. I know that was an item of concern for a lot of people, especially with the kids walking to school. We will have the sidewalks. We'll have a multi-use trail on the south side of West A from Southwest 36th Street over to Coddington. And then we'll also have an area for the bus stops along West A as well. So this graphic is basically the same graphic that we have on the project website. And we've broken this is for the street project. We've broken it out into 6 different phases. And after we watch an aerial drone video, we'll talk a little bit more in depth about what's happening in each of these phases and what's expected to come. So now we're going to watch a drone video, and this video is going to start. So we're looking west. So this video is going to fly east to west, and we're starting at Southwest 23rd Street. And so here there's Southwest 24th Street. So that's where we have a hard closure to through traffic. But as you can see, there's a lot of driveways on the south side of the street that we still need to maintain that local access. So the road is still open for local access to those residents. This video was taken November 7th, so this is just over a week old. But you can see here at Southwest 27th Street, they're working on the main line for the sanitary sewer project, both east and west. Southwest 27th Street, you can go north and south to access the houses and the residents on the north side of West A. So these are the crews working on the sanitary sewer project. And then coming in at the top of the screen is Southwest 30th, and you can see the cars that can get from one neighborhood to the next through West A from Southwest 31st to Southwest 30th. There's also some private utility work that's going on in the area. And Hawkins, our contractor's done a great job moving as far east as they're able to. So this is Southwest 31st Street. And you can see that new pavement has been put in place west of there. There are some areas on the trail here where the private utilities still have some relocations to do, but those gaps will be filled in. You can see one of the multi-cell. We have a couple big box culverts along this project that have been constructed. And then this is coming up on the western end of the project limit. So this is Southwest 36th Street. The pavement for that roundabout is complete. And then again, there's some retaining wall driveways and private utility relocations that are currently occurring west of Southwest 36th Street. And then this is the section where we're tying back into the county road. And then Southwest 40th Street here at the top. Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth on a phase by phase of the project, and then Brian Kramer, who is the superintendent of wastewater collection, will be discussing the progress of the sanitary sewer project. So we'll just start at the west end and work our way to the east. So phase one is basically from the west project limits, about city limits, to just east of Southwest 36th Street. And we have a lot that's complete already. As you could see from the drone video, the pavement's in, the sidewalks and the trail is in, a lot of the underground utilities are in, but the private utilities are working in the area west of Southwest 36th Street. And once they get relocated, then Hawkins will be able to get in and construct that retaining wall, and then do the driveways, and then put in temporary striping, and then put in some temporary lighting. And those are the two things that we really need to have to get the road open from Southwest 36th Street to the west. And so we're expecting all of that to be done, assuming that we have good weather by the end of 2023. So some of the challenges that we have along here, one thing that we have to work around is federal regulations. So the northern long-haired bat was just listed as an endangered species. So we have a very limited time of when we can take out trees without having surveys done. In addition to the bats, we need to be concerned about migratory birds as well. So there's a time period in there where if we need to take down a tree that's inside those limits where the birds are migrating or the bats are active, then we need to get the surveys. This is just, these next few slides are pictures of phase 1. So here you can see some of the water main and the inlet tops that were ready to be placed. These are pictures of Southwest 36th Street roundabout being constructed and some of the storm sewer, the underground storm sewer pipe being constructed. And here's an after picture of the Southwest 36th Street roundabout and new asphalt on West A. And then Hawkins is already final graded a lot of that along phase 1, and then they've put the seating down as well. And then this is some of the private utility work that's going on west of Southwest 36th Street. And then these are some of the large retaining wall blocks. You might have remembered seeing them in the drone video that they're sitting out there as well. They're pretty heavy, and so then there'll be some large pieces of equipment that will be brought in to place those once the utilities are relocated. And we're doing everything that we can to get that road open. Hawkins does have a noise permit, so they've been taking advantage of that after the concrete is placed, depending on the weather. There's a lot of different conditions. They have to get in and saw cut the joints at certain times. So depending on when the concrete's placed, sometimes that work has occurred at night. We're going to be working on putting in the temporary striping and also putting up some temporary light poles because there's a long lead time on the permanent light poles. So those will be coming in early next year, but we'll get everything in as a temporary basis so that we can get everything from the roundabout to the west open.
All right, I'm Brian Kramer, City of Lincoln, Superintendent of Wastewater Collection, and I'll tell you the pieces and parts about the sanitary sewer project. We have broken it up in the same phases as the street project in order to talk about it concurrently. Here on phase 1, we're mostly complete with all our work on this end of the project. From the very beginning, our contractor utilized 2 crews, one on the west end and one on the east end. And we started early down here on the west end so that we could get our part complete and out of the way of the paving construction.
So phase 2 is basically just east of Southwest 36th Street over to the VFW. And again, there's a lot of work that's been completed in phase 2, the pavement work. This is that area of one of the big box culverts. That's all complete. Have some driveways that are complete, and we're working on private utility relocations. And again, need to put in that the striping and the street light poles along there as well. So the picture on the left is a photo of when that box culvert was being constructed. And then the photo on the right is a picture of the trail. So it's a nice wide trail, and then it'll be connected up to Coddington. Again, these are just some more pictures of during construction of the photo on the left is when they were doing the grading for it during construction, and then the after photo on the right.
All right, back to the sanitary sewer project. We're mostly complete in this area as well. As you can see on the left there, we have 800 feet of the 10-inch pipe in, some manholes, and one of the service connections. Now, what's remaining in this area is a small hookup represented by that little map on the right. The little blue stub represents that 25 feet of 12-inch where we're connecting into an existing sanitary sewer that connects into the old trunk line, which we have to disconnect from that one and then tie it into the new existing one. And here's just a couple of pictures from the project. The one on the left is actually a water main that was part of the paving section of that they had to redo. And then on the right, you can see where they're installing the top part of a sanitary sewer manhole.
Okay, so phase 3 is the phase that there's a lot more heavy work going on right now. So this is from the VFW over to Southwest 30th Street. The pavement is in just to the west of Southwest 31st Street. And then east of there, we'll be doing, we have another big box for the roundabout at Southwest 31st Street will be kind of the big item that we'll be focusing on there. So again, these are just some more pictures. The photo on the right is of Timber Ridge. So there's not a roundabout at Timber Ridge, but residents will be able to take a left. So going westbound to southbound into the neighborhood, and then they'll be able to go eastbound out of the neighborhood. And then this photo is looking to the east. This is standing on Southwest 36th Street, looking east, and you can kind of see towards the top of the picture the intersection of Southwest 31st Street, and that will be in phase 3 and beginning early next year.
All right, back to the sanitary phase 3. We've installed over 1,200 lineal feet of new trunk line, plus a couple of manholes. What we have left to do is over on the right. We have connections to make at Southwest 31st and 30th. Both of these connections, and I'll show you a picture of what we're talking about here in a minute, are gonna actually close those two intersections down. It's gonna be about 1 week for the 31st and about 2 weeks for 30th. So that'll be the last big impact of traffic that the sanitary sewer project has out here on West A. And we should be working on those sometime here in December or early January. And now here's a picture of what I was talking about. You can see in the bottom of this trench, you can see the new 24-inch pipeline, and you can see the bottom section of a manhole. And then perpendicular to that is an 8-inch line. And also at the bottom of the picture is the old manhole. So that pipe represents the existing sewer, which runs from the old manhole into the old sanitary sewer trunk line, which you can't see because it's buried behind those steel plates. So that we have to come in here and we have to make this connection at those two streets, and that's what's kind of difficult to do because you have to have all the new pipe constructed so that you can send the sewer down it. And we're just on the verge of having the entire 24-inch trunk line installed, which we should have by the end of the week. And I'll talk about that in phase 4 and 5.
Okay, so phase 4 for the roadway project, we will begin in spring of 24. Major work on this one. There'll be another big box culvert that will be constructed, and that'll require West A to be closed from Southwest 27th to Southwest 30th.
All right, sanitary sewer. Again, we've completed, I guess, about 1,300 lineal feet of sewer pipe in this section. What's remaining are, you can see over in the little map in the bottom right, the little blue parts. Just 50 feet. It's really less than 50 feet now. We're down to about 20 feet before we have all of the 24-inch connected. And then we have some service connections and some tie-ins to the south and the north. And I forgot to mention earlier, part of the reason we're doing these tie-ins to the north, they really don't go anywhere yet, but they're gonna be in place for future development, which is going to occur. And by doing this work now, we save any possible pavement damage or taking out the new pavement to put that sewer in the future. So we're getting ahead of development on this one. And this picture is just west of Southwest 27th, and it's trying to illustrate all of the utilities that are parallel to our new trunk line. The black pipe here is the gas line, and then you see fiber conduit. And what the contractor has done is he's excavated these, And it's got enough slack in the line that then he can lay them up on top of the bank, do the work, and then as he backfills the trunk line, he then takes those utilities and put them back in the trench and reburies them for to complete the backfill operation.
Okay, so phase 4 and 5 are to the east of Southwest 27th Street. So basically from Southwest 27th Street over to Southwest 23rd, which is the end of the road project. And we will work on that phase in 2024. And our plan is to have east-west traffic open on West A Street by the end of 24.
All right, back to sanitary sewer. We've completed most of the pipe on this end of the project. But just like I said before, a little bit of the 24-inch, and then we have some connections to the north down here as well. But these connections actually go to existing areas where there are already already houses or businesses. And I want to mention only for the people who live north of A Street between 27th and 25th, pay attention to this. There's going to be a lot of back and forth on which road you're going to have access to as we finish up on this end. Some of the time we're going to have 27th closed, so you'll have to use 25th. Then probably in the next week, 25th will be closed and you'll be back to using 27th. So just be prepared for a little flip-flop of road closures there if you need to get to the north side of A between those two streets. So this is a shot right east of Southwest 27th Street, and it's kind of to illustrate how large and how deep of a hole that they need to dig to bury the sanitary sewer. It's approximately 30 feet in the ground, and you can see the backhoe sitting there, and you can see how the hole is stepped down, and then you get a shoring box in the bottom. So in order to be safe for the workers to work in there, they have to open up this big trench and use the box that you see. So there's a lot of dirt that gets moved, and then a lot of dirt that has to come back, and it's just a long process. Plus, if you remember the other picture with those utilities laid up next to the trench, there's just a lot of components that we have to work for, and that's pretty much why it's taken us all year to get sewer from 24th down to 36th Street. And here's just a few more pictures of how wide the trench is and how deep it is. And you can see the big dirt piles off to the right that they've moved from the south side of the road to the north side so that they can get them out of their way.
Okay, so our final phase for the roadway is phase 6. And this is basically the north and south legs of Southwest 27th Street. Again, the roundabout at 27th Street we're be looking to do with the West A with the West A component as we're moving west to east. There'll probably be some other ancillary items that are completed in 25, such as seating, just everything else to just wrap up the project. So again, just having the road open through traffic east-west along West A by end of 24, and then the rest of the project will wrap up in 25. And with all those schedules, we can control what we can control, but we can't control Mother Nature. So everything is dependent on weather. Fortunately, the last few years we've had pretty decent weather. But if we have another summer like we did, say in 2015 in this area, it makes it very difficult to dry out the soil and to be able to work it and then put the pavement down. As you could see going through the photos there's a lot of areas with exposed soil. And so if we start to get into pretty heavy rain events or cycles of every 2 to 3 days, it gets a little bit more challenging for us to move forward on the project. So cross your fingers and hope for good weather through the rest of the project here. And then this is just, again, another picture. This is right by the VFW. You can see them in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Again, providing local access through there. This is looking to the west. Need to have those pavement markings down and the street lights up before we can open segments of the road. And what to expect this winter. So like Brian was talking about for the sanitary sewer project, there'll be periodic alternating closures of Southwest 25th and Southwest 27th Street as they're working through that area. We'll continue to have the detours, making sure that everyone's updated on either Facebook, the website. Construction will begin on that box culvert, and completing the clearing of the trees out, because right now we're in that period where we don't have to have surveys for the bats or the birds. And then the sanitary sewer project will be making their final connections and wrapping up that project.
Thanks, Chris and Brian. As for communication moving forward, you can expect the next virtual public meeting to be held in either March or April of 2024, as we continue to make progress on this project. For smaller updates, we'll continue to post those on the West A Neighborhood Association Facebook page. Just on behalf of the project team, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. We really appreciate it. And then we'll kick off the Q&A session. Erica, kind of facilitate those conversations.
Yes, just a reminder, if you have any questions or follow-up questions, feel free to put them in the chat. You can also email me. I have had several people email me, a couple people before the meeting, and then some people through the meeting. So I'm just going to start at the beginning. And okay, the first question I have is, can the 36th Street intersection be open for entry and exit from Timber Ridge for community traffic? Concrete work is and has been completed, and normal morning, evening, and night traffic access would not impede work, is what this person is thinking.
Yeah, so we are still working in the area west of Southwest 36th Street. So the private utility companies are relocating their facilities, and once they are relocated, we can begin work on the retaining wall on the south side there, and then also pouring back the driveways that are along there. And given that that's only a 2-lane road, there needs to be room for Hawkins and their subcontractors to do the work. And then we'll have to put in temporary pavement markings and then put up that temporary lighting to go in. And that's especially important because we're changing the geometrics of the area with the roundabout at Southwest 36th Street and then the intersection configuration at Timber Ridge. So right now, if going back to the west, Timber Ridge, once you go northbound, you will only be able to turn east. Could make a U-turn at the VFW, but again, we would need to have the pavement markings and the street lighting in place.
Okay, next question. What can we do about the Springview and Southwest 37th Street option for Timber Ridge? The twice-a-day sprinkling of water is ineffective in controlling dust. These two roads also might need some deep grading to address the washboard surface, and also who owns these streets. I guess there's confusion on if the county owns them or the city owns them.
Yeah, so those streets are county owned, and we have been coordinating with the county on that. We have been watering, like you said, 2 times a week. We did look at option of placing some chemical, mixing the chemical in with there, but that gets really slick. We've talked about that with the county. And then from personal experience, I know walking a dog, that chemical also kind of just, it's a little bit gummy, concerned about that as well. But you know, the Southwest 36th Street roundabout will be open by the end of the year. That's our schedule. So we can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel for that. We do have another access point. You know, we saw it on the drone that currently residents in that neighborhood, it's you can get out by Southwest 31st and Southwest 30th back to Washington Street as well.
Okay, let's see, moving on here. Oh, one question is, why has there been a lack of communication on the progress of the project about deadline delays or status of the project? And sounds like they're having answers from the city, the mayor's office, and the county roads department as well. And what can we do to rectify the situation?
Yeah, well, we try to do our best communicating with everybody, you know, through meetings like this. So we plan to come out and talk with you again in another 6 months, getting every information out on the website. Erica and her team has been doing a good job with the Facebook updates as well. We do have the project website. I think if you are having problems with people returning your calls or your emails, probably the best bet is to go to the website, and Russ and Galen, our construction engineer and our construction project manager, their contact information is on the website. You can email them, you can phone, reach them with the phone call. And that's probably the best bet, so.
Is it possible to enact no parking or parking on one side of the street on the designated detour to facilitate two-way traffic?
And I'm assuming that this person's talking about Washington Street. And so we have done some studies along Washington Street, and removing parking on one side was one thing that we considered. But typically what we have found in the past when we do that, the speeds increase. And I know that's one of the concerns that people that live along that street had, was the traffic speeding or perception of speeding along there. And so that's why the decision was made to keep everything kind of status quo along Washington Street.
Okay, can you review and possibly identify detour routes with signage or more signage, as those unfamiliar with the neighborhoods don't know the turns?
Yeah, and that's something that we typically would not do. We do encourage people to use Waze. And so if somebody is not familiar with the area, perhaps they could use Waze. We do work with them. And then I guess if it's a family or friend, you know, just communicate with them the streets that are open.
Okay, and I'm getting messages that the chat, where people are having trouble getting into the chat. So I'm not sure what's wrong with the chat, but I'm still getting the emails going in. So I'll just keep on doing those emails. Are fire and rescue and police perspectives for effective response times for critical incidents incorporated into these detours and construction plans?
Yes, so we coordinate with fire and rescue, all in the police for the street closures, and they're made aware of on a day-to-day basis of everything that's going on in the area.
Okay, do you communicate with school bus management to increase safety?
Yep, we also coordinate with the school system so they understand, so that their bus routes are, if they have to make any modifications, so we coordinate with them as well.
Can we only close Timber Ridge when construction is actively going on to support positive community relationships?
Yeah, and Timber Ridge, like I mentioned, it's only it's a left, what we call the left in, right out. And so once all that pavement is in place and we have the pavement markings and the street lighting, the Timber Ridge traffic would only be able to go eastbound on there. They could, potentially, maybe we could make a roundabout or a 180 turn at the VFW. We'll just kind of have to keep an eye on it. But basically, as soon as we have a segment of road that is safely open, ready to open to the public, that we will get those open as soon as we can.
Why isn't Springview Road paved when other streets on the other side of Southwest 40th are?
Yeah, and that's a county road. The developments on the west side of Southwest 40th, it was probably the developer that put those in and paved the roads. Typically, the cost of the infrastructure for those subdivisions is borne, kind of put back into the lot prices that are out there. So, but I'm just speculating. That's since that's in the county.
Have any studies been done on possible hazardous or medical effects which might have occurred from the dust from the cars driving on Springview?
And I'm not aware of any studies that have been done. I know there are a lot of gravel roads in the county, and the city also has some gravel roads as well.
Okay. This is just a statement. I wanted to say thank you to all the road crew workers for the effort they have put in over the course of this massive project. We live right on A Street and have seen firsthand everything that has taken place and all the obstacles they've had to deal with. Also, thanks to those in charge that have responded to the homeowners' concerns. Okay, here's this. It looks like this question has several parts to it, so I'm just gonna start reading. Since the timeline to open Southwest 36 to Southwest 40th is now looking like January 2024, is there any thought to performing some type of chip and seal or other treatment to the gravel road out of the back of the neighborhood to help provide dust control and stability?
That was one thing that we haven't talked with the county about. I think probably since it's, we're month and a half away, probably continue on the course of the treatment with the water, instead of having a chip and seal along there. That would, it just would require additional coordination with the county. That would be a future maintenance that they would have to maintain.
They're saying, please note, they don't live next to the gravel road, but they do see the dust too. If that's not an option, is there a plan to have more frequent grading of the gravel road by chance? It's been close to 2 weeks between grading and the quality of road is suffering.
Yeah, that's something that we'll talk with the county about that.
And then just a note, the other option is to weave through the neighborhood, which adds about 10 to 15 minutes each way in the mornings and the end of the day, as their lived experience. Let's see. It says, we would like to have something open, which is more convenient, such as Southwest 36, west to Southwest 40th. Please try to get this open ASAP.
Yep. We hear you. We are moving forward as fast as we can.
Okay. Here's another question. How does the city plan to accommodate snow removal via the Gravel County back road out of the neighborhood? This person is concerned about the traffic through that area and the road conditions.
Yeah, and that's another item that we'll coordinate with the county on, since that's a county road.
So will there be snow removal
I'm not sure what the county snow removal is along residential areas and along the gravel road. I need to check with them.
Okay, we could get that answer, and then I can post it on the West Day Neighborhood Facebook page to follow up with. Here's another question. Will a sidewalk be put in at the Coddington and West Day roundabout to the gas station? There are frequently people walking in the street to get to that gas station.
And I think we do have Galen, who is our construction project manager. He's a lot more familiar with that area than I am. Galen, are you aware of that?
There's currently not anything planned to install any sidewalk in that area. I'm sure it is frequently traveled, but there's nothing with this project. If anything, it would have probably been done with the previous one.
So this is the gas station north of West A, correct?
Coddington, West Day, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Will phase 1 road closure be open before the road closure in phase 3 begins?
So we will have the roundabout at Southwest 36th Street open before Southwest 31st Street. It needs to be closed for those sanitary sewer connections.
Is there a date or any type of date?
So Southwest 36th Street, we're looking to have that open to the west by the end of the year.
Okay, and I apologize. I'm not sure why the chat box is disabled. Our IS team set this webinar up, so I don't know if there's a button that I can unclick, but I can't seem to find one. So I'm still just going to cruise on. The chat box, oh, is disabled. Can anything be done about the potholes at Southwest 24th and A?
Yeah, we can take a look at those, and then if something needs to be done, we'll get those corrected.
What can be done about all of the stop sign runners coming out of the south side of A Street at Southwest 24th?
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes, you know, if there's a particular time of day, we can, we've worked with the police in the past. But it is just hard to, you know, catch people when they're doing it, unless there's like a certain time period, you know, perhaps before or after school. Maybe there's some other time periods in there. But we'll talk about that with our internal staff as well.
And then what about mowing between the sidewalk and the curb along West A between Coddington and Southwest 24th?
Yeah, and so in that area, up to Southwest 23rd Street, it was completed under the other project. And so once all this project is complete, any property that's adjacent to the roadway will be responsible for maintenance from their property to the back of curb line, basically. So mowing, snow removal. Well, I guess there's a trail on the south side, but the north side with this, there's a sidewalk, the snow removal for that, but that would be the responsibility of the adjacent property owner.
Will Southwest 36 be open to traffic before West A is closed at Southwest 30th and Southwest 31st?
Yes, we will make sure that there's always access back to West A Street. So Southwest 36th Street will need to be open to the west before Southwest 31st Street is closed.
Next thing, the chat feature is disabled. I'm sorry, I don't know why it's disabled. It shouldn't be. It's never been a problem before. I wanted to use it publicly to thank everyone for the forethought and planning, of course, all the work, and for taking time out of the evening to update us at this meeting. Please share with those in the meeting. Thank you. Okay, my name is Bo. I live at 3420 Timber Ridge Circle. Who do we talk to get a retaining wall on the back side of the property that backs up to A Street at Timber Ridge? The new roadway is lower than my property and my neighbors heading towards Timber Ridge Road. We all would like our yard put back to existing grade, not sloped anywhere from 1 foot to 3 feet towards the north. And I might need to forward this one on if we need further.
Yeah, we can take a closer look at that property. You know, typically we have all of that designed and we make sure that any slopes that we leave are mowable slopes, but we'll take another look at that property sometime. Yeah, if you could just forward that to me, Erica.
Okay, I will. Okay. Next question. There has been quite a bit of debris left on the open roads, especially at the intersection of Washington and 27th Street. I had to get a new tire because of a large piece of metal that I believe was left on the street. I do have pictures and tried contacting Hawkins, but did not receive a call back.
This is the area of the sanitary sewer project that's going on. So maybe Brian, if you want to address that.
Sure, we can look at maybe doing some sweeping there. That road is still heavily used by well, our project and private contractors going back and forth as well. I guess Erica, if you can email that to me, if there's a picture of the debris, maybe we can identify it and see where it came from. But I can stress with the contractor to do a little bit better road maintenance activities there than they have been.
Sure. Okay. And I'll just forward that on to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so Hawkins is working to the west of here, just to let them know.
Let's see here. Okay, what is the Facebook page you are referring to? The Facebook page we're referring to is called the West A Neighborhood Association Facebook page. So on this Facebook page, we put updates on there, especially if there's traffic that has to change. We've put delays on there in the past. We've put progress reports on there in the past. Anything that makes a significant difference regarding how the neighborhood operates, we try to put it out on a media press release, and then we also try to incorporate that into the neighborhood page. So then there's two different ways that people can find out about this information. And if you give me a second, I can put the link. I can find it real quick and put the link in the chat, but it's disabled. So I guess maybe you guys don't see that. Okay, here's another question. We live on West A. Would people who are frustrated with no openings, please stay off the roads. We've witnessed numerous cars after hours going through. 2 at least went off the road due to no lighting. We understand everyone is frustrated, but if damage occurs, we will wait longer. So yeah, we want to keep everyone safe. Okay, you did not put a ramp. This person, they didn't give their address, but they said that we did not put a ramp out of their backyard to get up over the wall. So it is a 2-block adventure to take care of the 55-foot strip that is 6 feet wide. I'm not, does anyone?
Yeah, that's a challenge, especially, when we're working in areas like this. We have other areas all over the city of Lincoln as well. And I know, some people have, there's a couple different ways that, people have addressed that. Some people have worked with their neighbors and taken turns on going out and mowing it, that area, or maintaining it. Other times there's a neighborhood association that, they have changed their bylaws so that the neighborhood association takes care of that area. Some people, they get their neighbors together and then they hire a private contractor that goes out and maintains it. And then other people, they walk around the 2 blocks, or however long it is, and maintain it themselves. So it's always been a challenge, when we have the differences in elevations that would require a wall, and the property owner is still responsible for the maintenance of it.
Okay, what can be done about construction traffic speeding through the neighborhood, front loaders and work trucks?
Well, we can talk. There's a lot of different contractors that are working in the area. We have private utility companies. We have a lot of subcontractors from 2 different construction contracts, 2 different prime contractors. We'll definitely make sure in our progress meetings that our contractors that we have a contract with are aware of that, to try to minimize if there's any construction cut through or construction speeding through there. Definitely. Other areas, I know we've done some studies along Washington Street. Sometimes we work with the police department. I guess if they have a specific area, we can investigate it.
And our director, Director Elliott, has been able to locate that West A neighborhood link page. She did put it in the chat. I'm hoping you guys can see it, even though you can't respond. And that is all the questions I have so far. So if anyone, oh wait, I have one more. This person, the question you just followed up on, they said this is between Coddington and Southwest 24th, and they are right in the middle of that.
This is for the speeding?
This is for the 2-block,
The maintenance.
Yeah. Do we need to pull this email aside and try to dig into that a little bit more? Or?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's on some of these areas, we try to get out ahead of the development with some grade studies so that we can minimize the retaining walls that are out there. But I know, like, along Pine Lake Road from 40th to 56th Street, there's some pretty significant retaining walls along in that area. And if you drive down there, you can kind of see in different ways that different, on the south side, one of the neighborhood associations maintains that green space between the back of curb and the retaining wall. On the north side, the individual owners take care of it by themselves. On South 14th Street between Pine Lake and Old Cheney, I know those neighbors, I guess at least the last that I knew, they just took turns going around. They live in a cul-de-sac, and they just walk their lawnmowers around and maintain it that way.
Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any. Okay. Well, you guys do have my email address. Feel free to email me if you can think of a question that you would like me to forward on to the team. You know, we're here to answer them as best we can. And next time I will get this chat figured out. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And so, but that's all the questions I have so far.
All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody. We understand construction's painful and this has been a long project. So we appreciate the patience, although I know it's getting hard, but it's something that we want to get out of there as fast as possible, just like you guys want us out of there. So if you do have questions, you can email Erica, but you can also email me and try and get those answered and information to you as fast as possible. And again, we know this is hard on you and we appreciate it. And thank you for all your patience and getting through this project together. So thank you.
And Liz, if you just want to say your email, because I'm not sure if people can even see the chat, just in case.
Yep.
Maybe they can, but just in case.
No, just in case, it's Elizabeth.Elliott, and that's ELLIOTT @lincoln.ne.gov.
All yours, Haley.
Yeah, just to reiterate, thank you so much for joining us. Once this meeting is concluded, we'll put a recording on the project page. So thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank you.